Rome breathed in centuries, its ancient bones hidden beneath layers of modern life. Tourists wandered past cracked columns and worn cobblestones, unaware that some stories were buried too deep for sunlight. Stories like the gold bars, 47 of them, allegedly hidden beneath the Basilica di San Clemente in the final desperate days of World War II. Marco De Luca stood in the church's shadow, cloaked not in faith, but in intent, mid-40s. With a soldier's gait and the quiet menace of someone who'd seen too many battles, Marco wasn't here for prayer. He was here because of the line of Latin ink buried in the Vatican's Black Archive, Aurum sub Clementi dormiat. Let the gold beneath Clementi sleep. He wasn't alone. Lena Moretti adjusted the strap on her worn satchel, eyes flicking over the Basilica's worn facade. A historian by trade, she'd once lectured on Renaissance symbology. Now, she chased ghosts in marble cities. Marco had found her after a lecture in Milan. She hadn't asked how. He offered a codex, a mystery, and enough funding to quit her job without looking back. She said yes, partly for the thrill, mostly because her father, a wartime codebreaker, had whispered stories about Nazi convoys and missing Vatican treasures before dementia silenced him. Their third, Ezra Price, waited by a side entrance, a wiry man with a nervous smile and fingers always fidgeting with tools. Ezra was their locksmith, cryptographer, and conspiracy theorist rolled into one. He believed the gold existed, believed it had been smuggled through secret church tunnels, hidden by priests loyal to neither Allies nor Axis. 5 minutes, Marco said, glancing at his watch. We enter through the sacristy. Quiet, no shadows. Lena hesitated. You're sure this is more than legend? Marco met her eyes. I've seen the ledger. I know the route. And someone else is looking. We're not the only ones hunting. A silence stretched between them, the kind thick with meaning. Inside the basilica, tourists murmured beneath frescoes. None noticed the trio slip into a maintenance corridor, descending past layers of stone and time. Lena counted each step downward like falling into history itself. They reached a rusted gate. Beyond it, a tunnel curved out of sight, lined with ancient brickwork. The air changed, cooler, laced with moisture and something else. Expectation. Marco knelt, sweeping away dust from a floor tile. An etched symbol appeared, 2 cross keys, encircled by a serpent. Vatican insignia, but altered, twisted. This isn't just about gold, Lena whispered. No, Marco said. It's about what they buried to keep it secret. Behind them, Ezra froze. I heard something. 3 sets of eyes turned toward the darkness. Footsteps, and then silence. The tunnel pressing around them, lit only by Ezra's narrow beam flashlight. Each footstep echoed with quiet urgency, bouncing off stone-carved centuries before Rome dreamed of electricity. No more footsteps followed, but the silence had a shape, and it wasn't friendly. Marco led them deeper, past crumbled arches and iron doors sealed with time. Lena traced her fingers across the walls, reading faded Latin inscriptions, each one a warning disguised as piety. Ezra muttered under his breath, decoding them aloud. All who seek the treasure shall inherit dust. Real inviting. They reached an alcove where the tunnel split. On the wall, an embedded plaque bore a relief of St. Clement standing between 2 lions, oddly serene. Beneath him, a line of Latin, Veritas esse abscondit in circulis. Truth hides in circles. Lena stepped forward, eyes narrowing. It's a riddle, a reference to circular logic. Or maybe, wait. She turned slowly on her heel, studying the layout of the tunnels. With a sharp breath, she pointed left. This path loops. That's the key. Marco didn't question. He turned left. The new corridor was narrower. They passed niches filled with cracked urns and half-eroded saints, until finally the path opened into a low crypt. For pillars supported a sagging ceiling, and in the center stood a marble slab. On it, a codex, untouched by dust or time. Lena's hand trembled as she picked it up. No one's been here in decades, she whispered. Marco disagreed. He pointed to a half-burned match near the slab. Recent. Ezra scanned the room. There's no gold, just a book. Lena opened the codex. Its pages were filled with hand-drawn diagrams, mechanical symbols, and annotations in flawless Latin. Her eyes widened. This isn't just a map. It's a guide to a vault. There are traps, pressure systems, medieval engineering with deadly intent. Marco stepped beside her. Can you read it? Most of it, she said, but the instructions are fragmented. Someone removed the final pages. Ezra looked up sharply. Deliberately? Absolutely. Someone wanted us to get here, but not go further. Before they could respond, the crypt lights flickered. A soft scrape echoed from the tunnel. Marco raised a hand. No one moved. Breath held, they listened. Then, another sound. Not footsteps. A metallic click. Ezra's eyes widened. Pressure plate. He leapt aside as the floor beneath the codex hissed. From above, 3 darts shot downward, embedding in the stone inches from where he'd stood. Everyone froze. Well, Ezra muttered, that answers whether the traps still work. Marco nodded grimly. Someone set this up to kill anyone who came looking, and they knew we'd follow the codex. Lena looked at him. So now what? Marco took the codex and tucked it under his coat. Now we move faster. Behind them, the corridor darkened, as if something had shifted. A faint vibration ran through the stones. The crypt, once dormant, had begun to wake. The vault sat beneath 3 layers of carved limestone, encased in an octagonal chamber that hadn't seen daylight in 80 years. It looked less like a treasure room and more like a tomb. Dust veiled the ornate engravings, but the scent of oil and metal betrayed recent visitors. Ezra's voice broke the silence. This lock isn't from the 15th century. Lena moved closer. A steel dial, modern and precise, was embedded in the old stone. Someone reinforced it, which means someone found this place before us. Marco stepped forward, pulling a worn key from around his neck. They found it, but couldn't open it. He inserted the key. A soft clunk, followed by a mechanical groan. The door creaked open. Inside, stacks of gold bars gleamed like captured sunlight. 47, just as the codex had promised. Each stamped with an eagle insignia and a year. 1944. Lena exhaled, stunned. It's real. Marco didn't move. His face hardened instead of easing. This isn't just gold. It's leverage. Proof the Vatican covered up Nazi laundering. Proof that could burn half of Europe's sanctified lies. Ezra turned. What are you talking about? Marco leveled a gun. Lena froze. Marco, I was part of an operation after the war, he said. We were told to find this cache, bury the story, and forget it. I never forgot. But I never told the whole truth, either. Ezra raised his hands. You used us. I needed Lena to translate the codex, and I needed you to break through the fail-safes. His voice lowered. But I never planned on splitting anything. Before Lena could speak, a faint beat pierced the silence. Ezra's backpack blinked, red. Marco's eyes widened. What did you do? Ezra looked just as surprised. That's not mine. A voice echoed from behind them. Thick accent. Smug tone. Actually, it's ours. From the corridor, Kirill emerged, one of Marco's contacts, presumed missing days ago. Behind him, 2 men in tactical gear raised silenced weapons. Put the gun down, Kirill said. You brought us right where we needed to be. Marco hesitated, then fired. The shot clipped one guard's shoulder. Chaos erupted. Gunfire ricocheted off the vault walls. Ezra dove behind a pillar, screaming. Lena grabbed the codex and ducked just as stone shattered beside her. In the chaos, Marco was hit twice. Lena crawled to him, eyes wild. We have to go. Marco pressed the codex into her hands. Take it. The gold. Burn it if you have to. Just don't let them use it. She nodded, choking back panic. Ezra signaled from a side passage, an old drainage tunnel behind the vault. Their only exit. As they fled, Lena glanced back. Kirill stood over the gold, expression unreadable. Then the vault door began to shut, groaning back into place, sealing the truth once more. The tunnel spat them out near the Tiber River just before dawn, water lapping against moss-darkened stones. Lena collapsed onto the embankment, lungs burning, hands bloodstained, not her own. Ezra staggered beside her, panting, one arm clutching a cracked rib. "Is he?" Lena didn't answer. Marco had gone silent 20 meters back, slumped against the wall, eyes glass with the kind of stillness that didn't need confirmation. His last words echoed louder than the gunfire. "Burn it if you have to." Ezra leaned back, staring at the sky lightening above Rome's skyline. "They'll come after us." "Yes," Lena said. "They'll want the codex. The proof. The story." She reached into her coat and retrieved it. The codex's leather binding was scorched at the corners. One of Kiro's stray rounds had grazed it. Inside, the diagram still pulsed with secrets, sketched by hands long dead. Secrets people were still willing to kill for. Ezra shook his head. "So we disappear? Pretend none of this happened?" Lena didn't reply. Instead, she drew a small velvet pouch from her coat. From it, she pulled one gold bar. Heavy, cold, inscribed with a Nazi eagle, and below it, in tiny lettering, pro-restitution, non-pro-avaritia, for restoration, not for greed. She turned it in her palm. "What do you think happens if this sees daylight?" Ezra sighed. "Governments panic. Vatican denies. Conspiracy nuts go feral. And the truth?" she asked. He laughed bitterly. "Truth isn't profitable." She stood, brushed dust from her coat. The bar disappeared back into the pouch, then into the folds of her satchel. Not hidden, not discarded, just held. They walked the riverside in silence until the dome of St. Peter's came into view, golden in the rising sun. Tourists would be arriving soon. Pilgrims, priests, people seeking absolution under ceilings painted by the devout and the damned alike. Lena paused. "I'll go back to Milan. Teach again. Publish nothing." Ezra nodded. "I'll vanish for a while. Maybe Reykjavik. No one expects anything to happen in Iceland. They exchange no promises. Only the silence of understanding." 2 weeks later, in a quiet university library, Lena submitted a paper titled "The Myth of Sacred Vaults, an allegorical study of urban crypts in Catholic architecture." Dry, academic, perfect camouflage. On the final page, in Latin, she added a footnote few would ever translate. "Sometimes, what is hidden must remain so, until the world is ready to remember." At home, she placed a gold bar on her desk. She did not display it. She did not bury it. She waited